Welcome back, the rare and valuable coins. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Abraham Lincoln wheat pennies and rare Lincoln wheat cents. But not just any coins, we're talking about the ones that sold for thousands of dollars at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1952 Lincoln wheat penny with the large date and D mint mark in full damage condition. We'll talk about the history behind this coin, what makes it stand out, and most importantly, we'll discuss its current market value in today's world. So, whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting your journey, stick around because this is a coin you don't want to overlook. Let's start with a bit of history. The Lincoln wheat penny, which has been part of American coinage since 1909, features President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing the nation's agricultural roots. The 1952 Lincoln wheat penny was minted in the era following World War II, a time of prosperity and growth in the United States. The coin's production year, 1952, may not be as historically significant as some other years in the series, but it's part of a coinage tradition that collectors love. Now, something that sets the 1952 penny apart is its large date version. In 1952, the U.S. Mint experimented with two different types of dates, a large date and a small date. The large date variety is the more common version, and it's characterized by larger digits in the year. Despite being the more frequently found variety, some people find the subtle differences interesting, especially when paired with the D Mint mark, indicating it was produced at the Denver Mint. Next, let's talk about what we mean by full damage condition. In the world of numismatics, a coin's condition is one of the biggest factors in determining its value. Coins are graded on a scale, with uncirculated being the best and poor or full damage being at the lower end of that scale. A coin in full damage condition is one that has suffered significant wear and tear, meaning the details are either heavily worn down or completely faded. There may be scratches, dents, discoloration, or other physical damage that obscures the original features of the coin. For the 1952 Lincoln wheat penny, in full damage condition, you'll likely see that Abraham Lincoln's portrait is faded, with only partial details remaining. The wheat stalks on the reverse may be completely worn down or even unrecognizable. The large date is still visible, but it will likely show signs of flattening or distortion due to its long circulation and exposure to various elements. While this coin may no longer have the sharp details that make it stand out in a collection, it's still a valuable piece in the eyes of collectors, particularly when it comes to understanding the coin's history and the way it's circulated. In full damage condition, this coin is worth far less than a well-preserved version. Typically, the value of a 1952 penny in this condition will be around $8,000 to $10,000. It's important to note that while full damage condition coins may not fetch high prices, they still carry a certain historical value, and collectors sometimes enjoy owning these coins for the story they tell. They're still a piece of the past, a glimpse into the everyday life of someone who used this coin in their pocket during the 1950s. To give you some perspective, if this coin were in fine or very fine condition, it could be worth anywhere from $900 to $1,200 depending on its level of detail. But in full damage condition, it's much lower, as collectors place more value on coins with legible features and minimal wear. You might be wondering, why would anyone want to collect a coin in full damage condition? Well, collectors value all types of coins for different reasons. Even a coin like the 1952 Lincoln wheat penny, in poor condition, tells a story. It's a piece of history that circulated during the post-World War II era, and it's seen decades of life in someone's pocket. Some collectors focus on building sets with all grades of coins, from uncirculated to full damage, while others may focus on particular mint marks, like the D mint mark on this coin. No matter the condition, this coin is a representation of the everyday circulation and history of the 1950s. Next up, the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny, with a large date and no mint mark. This coin might seem like a simple penny at first glance, but trust me, there's more to it than meets the eye. We'll talk about the history behind this specific coin, what the large date and no mint mark signify, and most importantly, we'll discuss its current market value, which might just surprise you. Stick around as we explore what makes this penny stand out and why it's still sought after by collectors today. Let's take a trip back to 1946. It was a time of transition in the United States. World War II had just ended, and the country was beginning to rebuild. The Lincoln wheat penny had been in circulation since 1909, and by 1946, it was a familiar and trusted part of everyday life. Now you may notice that this penny features a large date. In 1946, there was a minor shift in the way the year was designed, with some coins minted featuring a large date and others with a small date. The large date variety is the more common one, and it's typically seen in coins with the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the absence of a mint mark. For the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny, in good condition, you'll see Abraham Lincoln's portrait with the main features still visible, though there's significant wear. The details on the hair and clothing may be softened, and the wheat stalks on the reverse will show some loss of detail. While the coin may not be in pristine shape, you can still easily identify Lincoln's image and the wheat stalks, making it a solid piece for collectors who focus on coins that have seen time in circulation but still hold some visual appeal. Now, let's talk about the color shade on the 1946 penny. Over time, coins can develop a unique patina, or color change due to exposure to the elements. For this penny, the color shade might vary from a light brown to a dark brown hue, depending on how much time it's spent circulating and the environmental conditions it's been exposed to. Some collectors actually appreciate this natural aging because it tells the coin's story. A darkened or toned penny can look more rustic, and some even consider it to have added character. This color shade does not necessarily impact the value of the coin unless it has resulted in damage, like excessive corrosion. But in general, a nice tone or color variation adds a touch of personality and history. While this coin isn't considered rare, it's still a piece of history that has stood the test of time. The large date variety, especially with the no mint mark version, is still relatively common in circulation, but that doesn't mean it isn't valuable. The condition of the coin, along with its color shade, will help determine whether it's on the higher or lower end of that price range. If this coin were in fine or very fine condition, you could see the value rise to $580, sometimes even higher, depending on demand. The 1946 penny in uncirculated condition can fetch up to $700 or more, but in good condition, it's a more modest collectible. So why do collectors still value the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny in good condition? While it may not be the most valuable coin in the series, it's still a sought-after piece for many. Whether collectors are looking to complete their sets or they simply enjoy collecting coins from different years, the 1946 penny holds its place in history. Next up, the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny, with the large date and no mint mark. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would anyone want a 1949 penny in bad condition? Well, it's a great question, and trust me, there's still a lot to discuss. In this video, we'll dive into the history of this coin, explore its condition, and most importantly, we'll talk about its value in today's market. So grab your magnifying glass, and let's take a closer look at the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny. To start, let's get some background on the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny. First minted in 1909, the Lincoln wheat penny became a staple of American coinage, representing both the legacy of President Abraham Lincoln and the agricultural history of the United States. The 1949 penny falls into the wheat series, which was produced from 1909 all the way through 1958, before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial penny in 1959. The 1949 Lincoln wheat penny is significant because of the large date variety. In 1949, the U.S. Mint used two different date sizes, large date and small date, and the large date variety is the more common one. This penny was minted in Philadelphia, as there's no mint mark present, and it's considered a regular circulation coin, meaning it wasn't designed to be rare or special. Now, when we say this coin is in bad condition, what exactly do we mean? In numismatic terms, bad condition typically refers to a coin that has suffered significant wear and damage. The features on the coin are barely visible, and the coin has likely been through years of circulation and possibly exposure to harsh environments. For the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny in bad condition, the details of Abraham Lincoln's portrait are often worn down, making it hard to distinguish the finer features of his face. The wheat stalks on the reverse may be so worn that they're completely indistinguishable. And, of course, there may be discoloration, dents, scratches, or even corrosion caused by age and wear. When a coin is in bad condition, it can be tough to tell exactly when it was minted unless you're familiar with the specific features of the coin. However, even a coin in bad condition can still hold value for collectors. Let's talk about why. For a 1949 penny in bad condition, the value can be surprisingly low compared to higher-grade versions of the coin. Typically, a coin like this will be worth between $80 and $100, that's around 5 to 10 cents. The reason for this lower value is that the coin has suffered significant wear, and it's hard for collectors to get excited about a piece that's in poor shape. Bad condition coins are much less desirable because collectors usually prefer coins with legible details and minimal damage. But even in bad shape, this coin is still a part of history and remains a piece of American numismatic heritage. You may not get rich off a coin in bad condition, but there's still value in owning a coin that's over 70 years old. If this coin were in fine or very fine condition, it would likely be worth between $175, and if it were in uncirculated condition, it could fetch even more, around $200 or higher. But in bad condition, it's definitely closer to the lower end of the value spectrum. The main factor here is, of course, the condition of the coin. Coins that are in bad condition are worth much less than those in good or uncirculated conditions. A coin that's heavily worn or damaged won't fetch the same price as a well-preserved one. You might be wondering, why would anyone want a 1949 Lincoln wheat penny in bad condition? Well, there are a few reasons why collectors still value even the most worn-out coins. For one, the Lincoln wheat penny series is a classic, and even coins in bad condition have historical significance. The 1949 penny is part of the post-World War II era, a time of great change in the United States, and owning a coin like this allows collectors to connect with that history. Additionally, for collectors working on completing sets of Lincoln wheat pennies, even coins in bad condition can be valuable to fill in gaps. Some collectors also appreciate the natural aging process, as it gives the coin a unique look and character. Even though it may not be worth a lot, it's still a part of American coinage history. Next up, we're taking a closer look at one of the most iconic pennies in U.S. history, the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny with the S mint mark. Specifically, we're focusing on the large date variety, and we're going to discuss its value in today's market, especially in very fine condition. So, if you're a collector or just curious about coin values, stick around. First, let's start with a bit of background on the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny. The wheat penny was produced from 1909 until 1958 and features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side, known for its iconic wheat stalks, was created by the same artist, the 1950 Lincoln wheat. Penny is famous for having two distinct varieties, the large date and the small date. The difference is subtle but important. The large date has a larger, bolder 9 in the date, while the small date features a more compact, narrower 9. The 1950 large date variety is the one we'll focus on today, as it is the more commonly found of the two. Now, let's talk about the mint mark, the S, in this case. The 1950 Lincoln wheat penny with the S mint mark was minted in San Francisco. While it might seem like a small detail, the mint mark is crucial because it tells you where the coin was produced. San Francisco minted a good number of these coins, but the ones in very fine condition are relatively rare compared to those in lower grades. Speaking of condition, let's discuss what very fine means. A very fine coin shows clear details and moderate wear, but the design remains sharp and easily recognizable. In this grade, the wheat stalks on the reverse side should still be distinct, though some of the finer details might be slightly worn. It's an important grade because coins in very fine condition still retain most of their original characteristics, making them desirable to collectors. So, what's the value of a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny with the S mint mark in very fine condition? As of today, in 2025, you can expect to pay anywhere from $10 to $20 for one of these coins, depending on the market and specific demand. While this may not seem like a huge amount, it's worth noting that prices fluctuate based on the coin's condition and where it's being sold. However, if you find a 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny with an S mint mark that is in better condition, such as extremely fine or uncirculated, the value can be much higher. Coins in top-tier condition have been known to sell for several $100s at auctions or through private sales. It's all about that pristine level of detail. But why does the 1950s mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny have value in the first place? Well, like any collectible, rarity and demand are key factors. While millions of these coins were minted, the combination of their age, historical significance, and the condition in which they've survived over the years makes them appealing to collectors. The S mint mark also adds an extra layer of scarcity because not all of the 1950 pennies were minted in San Francisco. If you're thinking of selling your 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny, you'll want to check with reputable coin dealers or auction houses. Make sure to get your coin graded by professionals, such as the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS), as this can help you understand its true market value. So there you have it, a closer look at the 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny with the S mint mark in very fine condition. Whether you're adding it to your collection or just curious about its value, it's definitely a coin that holds a lot of historical and numismatic significance. As always, if you have any 1950 Lincoln Wheat pennies, be sure to check the condition and see if you have a rare find. Next up, we're diving into one of the most iconic pennies in U.S. history, the 1934 Lincoln Wheat penny. But not just any 1934 penny. We're focusing on the large date variety without a mint mark. This particular coin is not only an interesting piece of American numismatic history, but is also valuable for collectors. So, if you're looking to learn about its value in today's market or just want to expand your collection, you're in the right place. First, let's set the stage with some background information. The Lincoln Wheat penny, designed by Victor David Brenner, was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. For nearly 50 years, these pennies were a part of everyday life in the United States, and they're still a favorite of collectors today. In 1934, the U.S. Mint produced two varieties of the Lincoln Wheat, penny the large date and the small date. The difference between the two is subtle, but it's important. The large date features a larger, bolder 4 in the year, while the small date has a more compact, smaller 4. For today's discussion, we'll be focusing on the large date variety, which is the more common of the two. Now, let's talk about the mint mark, or in this case, the lack of one. The 1934 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia, the primary mint for the U.S. at the time. The absence of a mint mark makes this coin relatively more common than others with mint marks, but that doesn't mean it's not valuable. Before we get into the value, let's take a moment to talk about grading. A coin's value is often determined by its condition, and for this video, we're focusing on the extra fine grade. A coin in extra fine condition will show only light wear, with most of the details remaining crisp and sharp. On a 1934 Lincoln Wheat penny, the wheat stalks on the reverse should still be clearly visible, and the date and liberty on the obverse should be fully legible with only slight wear from circulation. So, what is the value of a 1934 Lincoln Wheat penny with the large date and no mint mark in extra fine condition? Well, as of 2025, you can expect to pay anywhere between $60 for a coin in this condition. While that may not seem like a lot, the value can increase if you find a particularly well-preserved specimen or if there's strong demand from collectors. However, if you're lucky enough to find a 1934 large date penny without a mint mark in better grades, say in about uncirculated or uncirculated condition, the value can rise significantly. In these higher grades, the penny could be worth anywhere from $80 to $100 or more, depending on the specific market at the time. It's all about the details. The finer the condition, the higher the value. Like with many rare coins, the value of a 1934 Lincoln Wheat penny can also fluctuate based on demand and availability. In some cases, you may find that the coin sells for more at auction or through private sale than in traditional coin shops, especially if it's in exceptional condition. If you're looking to sell your 1934 penny, It's a good idea to get it professionally graded to ensure you get the most accurate price. So there you have it. The 1934 Lincoln Wheat penny with the large date and no mint mark may not be the rarest coin out there, but it's still a valuable and historically significant piece. If you have one in your collection, especially in extra fine condition, it could be worth more than you think. And if you don't have one yet, keep an eye out. These coins are still fairly accessible for collectors, but they're also a great example of how small details can make a big difference in the world of numismatics. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you found this video informative and helpful. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Expensive Coins for more coin collecting tips, coin values, and other numismatic insights. Until next time, happy collecting!